The United States runs 5,000 military bases around the world. 5,000. We're told they're rock solid, capable of defending against invasions and airstrikes. But turns out, nobody checks the locks. Now, this may sound trivial, but the impact has been disastrous. At least 1,900 guns were stolen or lost during the last decade. And these are military guns we're talking about, licensed and owned by the American military. They were stolen from high security installations. How did this happen? As we said, no one checked the locks. The report blames unlocked doors, guards sleeping on duty, and faulty surveillance systems, basically cameras that did not work. These guns are not just disappearing, they're popping up later in crime scenes, used in shootings, robberies, gang wars. Does the US Army know what's happening here? Well, all indications are they do. The Associated Press claims the Pentagon has been downplaying stolen guns for decades. Official papers say only a few hundred guns were stolen, but internal memos put the number at almost 2,000. Why is there no accountability for this? Earlier, the Pentagon used to report stolen weapons to Congress. By the 1990s, that tradition stopped. So the data was buried. A gun could be stolen or lost, but still listed as safe on record. And I can give you examples. In 2018, New York cops were hunting 21-year-old Alvin Damon. He was carrying a Beretta M9. That's a type of a semi-automatic pistol. The cops ultimately chased him into a store and arrested him. They ran a background check on the gun. What did they find? It was used in 4 New York shootings. But here's the outrageous part. According to records, the gun was still in Fort Bragg. That's a military base almost 1,000 kilometers from New York. So how did the gun get there? Well, the Army has no idea. And here's another example. This is from the Lincoln Stoddard Army Center. In 2015, a former medical officer broke into the base. He went through a kitchen window and cut into the vault. In 4 hours, he was in and out, and inside his bag was an arsenal. 6 M4 assault rifles and 10 M11 semi-automatic handguns. Guess where some of these weapons were later recovered from? 1 M4 rifle was found with a homeless man. 2 handguns were found in a trash bag. How does the Pentagon justify this? Well, they say the stolen weapons are a small part of the stockpile. But that's not the issue here. No one is worried that America will run out of weapons. But this is about amateur lapses having real-world consequences.
Literally hundreds of millions of transactions with respect to small arms in the course of a given year. And of course, we have a very large inventory, several million of these weapons inside the inventory. So I think in the aggregate, we take this very seriously, and we think we do a very good job. That doesn't mean that there aren't losses. It doesn't mean that there aren't mistakes made. It doesn't mean that, that we're perfect.
The Pentagon's reply does not really cut it. America wants us to believe that it can defend the world, but it can't even keep its own guns safe. War weapons have been trickling into the streets, and what did the Pentagon do? Downplay and cover it up. But with this new report, the tone has changed. Senators have pulled up the Army. They have no option but to reform.
My understanding is that the cases of, weapons from any branch of the services being unaccounted for and getting into the hands of civilians is likely to be a small number, but particularly given these reports, I commit to you that this is something that we will look into and certainly make sure we have situational awareness of that situation in the Army.
2,000 military guns on the street is no joke. It makes you wonder about America's tall claims. Is the US war machine as invincible as they say? How transparently do they operate? Because remember, America is a world power and they have bases all around the world, as I told you. They say a cop who cannot guard his gun is not a real cop. What does that say about the US military? WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.